March is looking absolutely insane, and I'm not just talking about the big collabs like the Jordan 4 SB or the Jordan 4 Nigel Sylvester. There's a lot of general release drops in March too that actually are going to have a lot more demand than people think, a lot more hype. Things are getting really exciting in 2025, and obviously the biggest one coming in March is definitely going to be the Union Jordan 1. Right now, most sources are saying they're going to be dropping on March 18th. As far as I know, the actual date isn't yet set in stone, so that is subject to change, but what I could definitely tell you is it is dropping in March. Later in March, though, don't stress, it's not going to be tomorrow. As I said in my last video, you got some time, but the good news about the drop, it's not supposed to be a normal kind of drop. They're supposed to be doing some kind of a gesture. As always, remember, we're going to be posting all the early information for that and any kind of shock drop or whatever inside of Endurance, which you could join with the link in the description below. But let's jump into March because this is looking absolutely crazy. Kicking off March with a bang, we got a sleeper cook, and this sneaker is actually a big deal. You might not know if you haven't been collecting for a while, but this is the Jordan 12 Flu Game. Now, I know Jordan 12s in general aren't the most exciting for many people. However, the Flu Game in particular is an absolutely iconic colorway. Just some brief history if you're not familiar. This sneaker is iconic, and it gets its nickname because Michael Jordan played in them while he was sick in a playoff game. Made this sneaker and this colorway a really big deal. So it's an important part of sneaker history, making it probably the most beloved Jordan 12 of all time, and there's a lot of demand on them compared to most Jordan 12s. In general, there's a lot of demand on this Jordan, so don't sleep. Not only that, but this year, Jordan Brand is cutting a lot of stock compared to what they were doing back in 2024 and 2023, so expect these to be a little more difficult to get than you would have expected, at least compared to other Jordan 12s, which are normally easy to cop. These are not going to be easy to cop. If you want these, don't sleep on them. Not only that, but I do think there is going to be room to profit on these, particularly on sizes 10 and above. It's not going to be anything crazy, but perhaps we'll see something along the lines of what we saw with the Jordan 5 Black Metallic, perhaps slightly less than that. Nonetheless, still a good opportunity to make some easy profit. Don't sleep on these, and of course, they make for great personals. They're needed in your collection if you like collecting Jordans as I do. Also on the first, for $150, we're getting just the grade school sizes of the Jordan 13 Pine Green. In general, Jordan 13s don't really tend to resell, and especially being grade school sizes, these are just going to be strictly personals, and you might even be able to catch them on sale for your kids. Also on the first, for $110, something exciting for anyone who plays soccer, but that's about it. The Nike Total 93 Metallic Silver is going to be dropping. Unfortunately, I'm just expecting these to be personals though. And also on the first, for $200 each, the same goes for the Pharrell Williams Adidas Superstar 92 White, and also coming in a black colorway. Both of these I'm just expecting to be personals. Then on March 6th, for $130, the same goes for the Sabrina 2 Stronger Than Gold. Just expecting these to be personals, but I will say this is definitely one of the nicer Sabrina colorways we've seen. Also on the 6th, for $190, the same goes for the Nike Air Max DN8 Bread. These are also just going to be personals only. Then on March 7th, for $160, we're getting the Nike sneakers drop for the Nocta Air Force One Low Pink Foam. So hopefully you didn't already buy them from the Nocta site, because Nike sneakers is going to have free shipping. Of course, for these, like all recent Noctas, these are just going to be personals. Don't worry, things pick up very soon. On March 8th, for $215, the Jordan 4 Abundance in women's sizes, specifically the Seafoam colorway, is going to be dropping. There's nothing really too special about this Jordan 4. However, with Jordan Brand slashing a lot of stock this year, there is a possibility that sizes 11 and above, those very large sizes, might actually get you some brick profit to lunch money. Nothing too significant, but there might be some opportunity here depending on stock. As always, we're going to post the full stock numbers inside of Endurance, which again, you could join with the link in the description below. Then on March 9th, for $165, we're going to get the Nike Air Uptempo 95 Mystic Teal. I would expect these to also just be personals. And right before things start to really heat up in March, first on March 11th, for $140, we got the Jordan Zion 4 Forged in Fire. Pretty nice colorway, but still expecting these to just be personals. Now, this is where things really start to get crazy. On March 14th, for $225, we're finally getting the long-awaited Nigel Sylvester Jordan 4 Brick by Brick. Initially, when mock-ups came out for this shoe, a lot of people were skeptical, but seeing the materials they're coming with and seeing how the reddish orange actually looks compared to the mock-ups, a lot of people really like this shoe. You could tell right now the demand is already absolutely insane. These are not going to be easy to get at all. Don't worry, I'm going to make a how to cop guide. Just make sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. We will be posting free guides inside of the free group too. And of course, for more important information like early info, early links and whatnot, that's going to be posted inside of the full endurance group. Obviously, this sneaker is going to be extremely profitable with a great margin, perhaps an incredible margin too. It's to no one's surprise. It's a big deal, similar to the Nigel Sylvester Jordan 1. And I'm really hoping I could get a personal pair of these. I'm sure you feel the same way. Also on the 14th for $230, the Foamposite 1 Black Volt is going to be dropping. It is pretty clear that Nike's trying to bring hype back to Foamposites, so it is possible these end up being unexpectedly limited. Nonetheless, there's not a crazy amount of demand for this colorway. It's not really anything special, but if they are limited enough, there's a chance that size 13 in particular might net you some brick profit if you have no tax. Otherwise, though, they're mostly just going to be personals. Then on March 15th for $225, we're getting another A Ma Maniére collab, this time on the A Ma Maniére Jordan 3 in the diffused blue colorway. A lot of people are actually pretty happy with how these turned out, but it doesn't change the fact that in general, A Ma Maniére collabs don't have the hype that they once had before. We've seen 3s already brick in the recent burgundy colorway. More likely than not, this is probably going to suffer the same fate unless, because it is 2025 and Nike's trying to keep things very limited, they do decide to make these more limited than they did the prior iterations. If that's the case, there might be some room for lunch money on sizes 11.5 and above. Nothing significant, but it is worth keeping note of these as we get closer to the drop for sure. And they are pretty nice personals, I can't lie. Another sleeper cook, potential sleeper cook, would have to be the Jordan 9 Cool Gray. This is a classic Jordan 9 colorway, and while Jordan 9s in general don't tend to have a lot of demand, this colorway in particular definitely does. And if these do follow the same pattern as the prior GRs like the Flu Games and Metallic 5s, having lower stock than what we would initially expect, these could very well end up netting you some brick profit to lunch money, particularly on size 11.5 and above. Nothing really crazy, but if stock is low enough, these might be a sleeper opportunity too. I would definitely say less so than the Flu Games and Black Metallics, but it doesn't change the fact if you have no tax, you might be able to make a little bit of profit on these. At the very least though, definitely would expect these to sell out. So if you're a Jordan collector like myself, don't sleep on these because they might be more difficult to get than you think, at least compared to most Jordan 9s, which are typically very easy to cop. And then on March 18th, we have the potential drop for the Union Jordan 1 Chicago on Nike sneakers. I say potential because this is the date that's known right now, but it's subject to change. They might end up going live earlier than that. One thing is that they are supposed to have some kind of a unique drop, a kind of gesture like I mentioned earlier. None of the details are fully confirmed right now, but rest assured when it is confirmed, we're going to post all the early information inside of Endurance like we always do and been doing since 2018 for every single kind of shock drop. So if you're interested in joining, again, the link's in the description below. Obviously, these are still going to be extremely profitable with an incredible margin, no surprises here. And if you're looking for a sort of drop recap on what happened during the Union release, definitely check out my last video on this too. I'll link it at the end of today's. Also on the 18th for $225, another really big drop. We got the SB Jordan 4 Navy dropping. Now this has a lot of people confused because normally we don't see two mega drops like this on the same day because again, the current potential Union date is supposed to be on the 18th too, but like I said, it's not supposed to be a normal kind of drop. So even if that 18th drop for Union does end up being the same, it still wouldn't really surprise me because as of now, at least, it's not supposed to be a normal kind of drop. But anyway, these SB Jordan 4s, you could definitely expect them to be very profitable with a great margin. Stock on these is higher than the pine green pair, so while demand is actually higher on this navy colorway, they'll probably end up performing about the same. Doesn't change the fact that they're still very profitable with a great margin. Don't be surprised again if some skate shops end up shock dropping on their websites. Just make sure you're watching the monitors inside of Endurance. Then on the 21st for $150, this one might be a little bit surprising. The Air Max 1 Low Poly Big Head Origins is going to be dropping, and I actually think, depending on the stock, these also have potential for some profitability, specifically on big sizes 11.5 and above. Normally, I would say these are just going to be bricks and personals only, but we recently did see an Air Max be quite limited, and to many people's surprise, ended up being quite profitable. It released through a kind of gesture recently. I don't know if you saw, but I feel like we could end up seeing the same thing, at least to a lesser degree, on big sizes for these. Again, it depends on stock, so we'll see. Then on March 22nd for $140, the Jordan 1 Low Obsidian is going to be dropping. Like all Jordan 1 Lows, I am expecting these to just be personals. Then on March 28th for $125, we're getting the Puma MB04 in the neon green colorway dropping. I'm also expecting these to just be personals. Also on March 28th for $135, we got the SB Dunk Low BHM having their delayed release. Kind of weird they didn't drop in February, but doesn't change the fact that a lot of people are still very excited for these. I think Nike did a pretty solid job on them. A lot of effort clearly went into the design and even the materials too. Right now, demand doesn't seem too crazy, but I think there will still be room for some lunch money, maybe a little bit more than that, particularly on sizes 11 and above with a decent margin. But that's actually going to conclude it for all the March releases we know of right now. As always, more are going to pop up throughout the month. Just make sure you subscribe and enable post notifications. And remember, for early information for any kind of weird drop, definitely join Endurance with the link in the description below. Other than that, though, have a great rest of your day and good luck on all these drops.